We will start with Rich Scarcella.
Good morning, Jesse, and thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Jesse, you guys talked about getting off to a fast start after the game Saturday, and I was just wondering, as a team captain, how do you go about um, spreading that message? How do you take it upon yourself to do that this coming Saturday?
Honestly, just in our preparation, attacking today, hard hat Tuesday, Wednesday, our Thursdays, even our Fridays with that mindset. It begins before it even begins. That's our mindset. That's my mindset, especially. So, that's the message I'm spreading throughout the locker room and the message that I want to make sure that, we all grasp.
Parth.
Hey, Jesse. Appreciate the time this morning.
How you doing?
I know you're on different sides of the ball, so it might be kind of hard for you to judge, but, whether it be going against this guy in practice or kind of seeing how he carries himself, what makes you know that, Devin Ford is ready to be that guy at running back now that, that Journey Brown's not going to be back?
Devin's a guy, comes into work. He's extremely talented. His skill set is extensive. From just little glimpses I've seen, he's prepared. Now it's just a matter of just putting it together and being consistent, day in, day out. That's the next step for him, as a player and establishing himself as a leader, especially in that room.
Nubias Wilborn.
Jesse, you talked about your preparation, but as middle linebacker, you also have responsibilities for the whole defense.
Yes, sir.
Where do you feel you've done best at that, and where do you feel you've done worse or can improve?
Speaking individually, I feel as if being a vocal leader, having my presence on the field has been very powerful. In areas where I feel as if I need to be tightened up, I would say, at times coming out faster and just, securing them tackles. I know from my film, I'm a guy that, whenever I do hit, ball carrier, they feel that impact. So I need to just be more consistent with my tackles and make sure they're secure, and I always at times try to get my hat on the ball and make a big hit and force that fumble, just secure the tackle. So that's an area for me that I need to be better
in. Tyler Donahue.
Good morning, Jesse. Thank you for doing this. Curious how you saw Sean Clifford carry himself on the trip back home Saturday, coming back into team facilities Sunday into this week. We don't know what's going to happen at quarterback. I had no idea if you guys know, and I know you wouldn't tell me if you did. But have you seen Sean Clifford carry himself since being pulled to the sideline?
After a loss like that, there's never really much noise in the locker room or any time to really interact with each other as much as you would expect compared to a win. So seeing Sean after the game, he was as poised as he would be, throughout his day to day. Regarding that quarterback conversation, I'm not aware of what's going to happen. Regardless, I know I'm comfortable with winning with either one. But Sean's going to continue to be a leader on and off the field and be the team captain that we appointed him to be. So.
Joe Giuliano.
Good morning, Jesse, and thanks for your time today. We know you guys work really hard in practice. Why do you think that your performance in practice does not translate to games?
I'm not sure. I can't pinpoint exactly why it is. We haven't been able to execute as much as we want to. But attention to detail. That's the biggest thing. We need to be detail oriented and clean up little things because clearly, it's just catching up to us, and we gotta put an end to that. This week's a great opportunity to get over that hump.
We'll go back to Parth.
Jesse, I got one more offensive question. I know we've talked to all of y'all. We've heard a lot about just Journey Brown still being having a great influence on the team, the sidelines. Can you give me an example of how he uplifts the team, in that new role?
If you know Journey personally, he has the type smile to light up a room. His energy is infectious. So whenever he's able to be around us, Journey can just do Journey things, like the slightest stuff just to make you laugh. He's a goofy individual. So That energy is infectious and what we need. So he continues to lead in that manner and just continue to bring that energy day in and day out for us. So.
New bias Wilborn.
What has the overall, because obviously with new responsibilities, you have to have an even better relationship with Coach Pry. What has that development been like over the season, particularly as you've kind of stepped into the role from Micah Parsons?
That developed from a developmental standpoint has been pretty well. We've been able to have great conversations, just talk about ball more. What I'm seeing out there from a defensive scheme and what these teams like to do and whatnot. So it's both sides. I tell him what I see, tell him what he sees, and it's just continue to invest and prepare myself to be the best will linebacker I could be on the field come Saturday.
Rich Garcella.
Jesse, where is the confidence level of this team right now? And secondly, what do you hope to accomplish the rest of this season?
Our confidence level is still there. There's a standard, a Penn State standard, and there's no reason for us to have a drop off. We're currently not where we want to be, but we know that all that is in the past right now. The only thing we can be focused on is ensuring we do what we need to do to attack these next 5 games and finish strong. We're hungry, we're resilient, and we know what we need to do. We want to play ball, and we're looking forward to our opponent this year.
Tyler Donahue.
Jesse, I'm going to ask you to look at the quarterback spot one more time for me, just because Taekwon Roberson is a player we've heard is doing good things in those Sunday scrimmages, especially. Can you tell us how maybe he's different than the scout team quarterback you saw on a weekly basis last year, now that he's getting a lot more of those varsity reps and maybe a guy you're going to count on down the road sometime?
He's a very talented player with a good skill set. If his opportunity finally arrives, then I'm going to be just as excited for him. But at the end of the day, Taekwon's a guy who comes into work day in and day out, and he does what he needs to do. He's hungry. I love his drive. So he's in a good position.
We'll go to Audrey Snyder.
Hey, Jesse, thanks for your time. How has Brandon Smith been on the field? What's it been like playing with him? What are some of the things you think he's done well? What are some things he still needs to work on?
I feel Brandon's starting to pick up and play his best ball. Week to week, he's getting better and better. He's starting to really get more comfortable. At times, whenever we're watching film, I would tell him he's trying to looking to get blocked and engaged with blockers when he doesn't need to. And I felt like this week was kind of an opportunity for him to really just blow by guys and play fast in a manner that I know he can play in. So, he's starting to play great football. He's playing better week to week. That interception, all week I was telling him he's going to get one this week, and he finally got it. I was kind of laughing because I told him he has to take it to the house. But, I'm excited for his growth, his development.
Joe Giuliano.
Jesse, we know captains lead by vocally and by example. Do you feel the captains are putting a little bit too much pressure on themselves to lead by example? I mean, not just practice, but in games, trying to make that extra play?
At times, yeah. Even myself, I'm at fault for that. Being a playmaker, at times you try to make, the play each and every time you get. But at times where, you're not making a play, just playing the framework and allowing, your teammates to do so is just as good. So, I think a big point of emphasis is just getting back to the basics, trusting what you see, trusting your keys in your eyes, and just playing as one. And I felt like this past week, we had a better showing of us playing in unison.
We'll go to Parth.
Jesse, this might be a tough question to answer, but through these first 4 games, y'all have been outscored in the first half, I think 93-26. But in the second half, for the second straight week against Nebraska, y'all didn't allow a touchdown. The defense didn't allow a touchdown. What's been that switch that's flipped? Like what's been discussed at halftime? What are the adjustments that have been made? From
a defensive scheme standpoint, we know collectively how we can play and what we can do. Our point of emphasis and our focus is getting to that point early. when we get our cleats sunk in the grass and when we start playing hungry and flocking to the ball, all 11 being relentless, it's very hard for offenses to play against us. We need to establish that with the game, and that's me, myself included, and that's what we need to do. Simple as that.
Tyler Donahue.
Jesse, this Iowa team has really leaned on its rushing attack, especially the last couple of games when it was winning. Hasn't thrown the ball much. Is that kind of a right away? They're going to try to punch you in the mouth and try to punch. And what does that mean for this defense?
It's going to be a 4-quarter game. Iowa, that's their bread and butter. They love to run the football, and that's where Penn State football, especially our defense, something we pride ourselves in stopping the run. So it's going to be a fun game. We're backs of talented, quick individuals who can get out in open space, make people miss. Sargent's a very talented back. Their offensive line, especially their tackle, number 77, Lard, is a very talented player. So we know what we need to do. They're going to try on their bread and butter plays. They love that stretch, the counter, traditional fullback player. So it's going to be a physical game, a physical four-quarter game. We got to get out there early and establish how we're going to set the tone for the rest of the game.
Roger Snyder.
Going along with Parth's question, Jesse, and trying to establish that tone, you've been a part of a lot of teams here. I mean, is there anything that has changed pre-game wise in terms of operationally? Like, have you guys mixed anything up, or have you mixed anything up in practice to try and move past those slow starts? Like, has anything changed?
Absolutely. We have had multiple things that we have done on our part to change that dynamic. Now the matter is the ball's in our court. We have to do it. If we're doing all these things and changing everything, and we're still not starting fast, it's on us. So we got to take full ownership and buy in. So.
And if I may, like, what's something that's changed, maybe like preparation-wise or operationally?
Preparation-wise is making that a point of emphasis. We can't allow teams to come in and score 7, 14 points before we finally establish that we're going to play defense now. So just accept it for what it is. It's going up there.
John Stroh.
Hey Jesse, thanks for your time. When you look at Tyler Goodson on film, what do you see there from that running back?
He's a talented player. He's very shifty. Him and Sargent, they both love to spin in open space. They're very quick with their steps whenever they can get the handoff. So just closing the gaps, taking the air out, is going to be very critical for us in the linebacker room, trusting our keys, stepping with our backs. So just getting back to the basics.
Corey Geiger.
Jesse, you're a veteran. You played a lot of football. So when you get down early in a game, maybe your confidence is still high, but you're playing a lot of young guys. What is your feel for when you're down immediately, 1 or 2 scores? What's the confidence level like for some of these young guys that aren't used to this, haven't played a lot? Is there any sense of here we go again kind of thing?
I wouldn't say there's any sense of here we go again. These young guys, they know exactly why they came to Penn State. We pride ourselves in being the most competitive environment in college football. And these guys are tenacious. They're hungry. So it's normal for some individuals, going down out early. They may get that feeling of we're back to this again. But it's a 4-quarter game, and at times, as a leader of the defense, I got to remind the guys, hey, they're going to throw some punches. You got to throw some blows back. It's all about how you're going to respond. And that's why I love the game of football. Doesn't matter how things may be going in the first quarter. You got 3 more quarters to make up for it and change the narrative.
Tobias Wilborn.
Jesse, I don't really know a way to answer this other than how tough is it knowing you played Maryland, they had, the little mini outbreak, to fully focus on football when you're still kind of uncertain based upon playing a game against those guys the week before?
I'm not sure your question. You worded it. I'm confused a little bit.
I would say, how tough is it to fully focus on football
Okay.
considering you played Maryland and they had to cancel their game.
Oh, okay.
The
You're
same
talking about
week.
COVID and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, from a COVID standpoint, I mean, it's not that hard to really focus on it because we have our testing and whatnot day in and day out, and we haven't been affected by it. So it's kind of dealing with that and getting it out of the way. It's kind of easier and allows us to shift our focus to getting prepared for Iowa and what we have to do this week.
Tyler Donahue.
Jesse, last summer you were watching Curtis Jacobs, coaching him up really on the camp circuit. Now he's playing alongside you in Big Ten games. Can you talk about the progress he's made? Seems like he's found a path to playing time as a true freshman.
Absolutely. Kurt, he's like a sponge. He's been able to soak in everything. I tell him, he's coachable. At times, I'll have him come in with me and watch film with me on Monday. We'll be in there for like 2 hours. So, he's a guy that's hungry to learn and be great. So, having someone like that in your room who's able to pick up on, the standard and see there's a formula to go about your preparation and how we do things. I love it. So being able to be there for him as a mentor, as a big brother, and help him with his progression has been great.
Last question, Audrey Snyder.
Jesse, we haven't heard from Brent Pry since like September. So I guess how has he been with you guys? What's kind of his message been in terms of trying to get everyone on the same page? What has he been like since we haven't heard from him?
Coach Fry has been Coach Fry. As far as establishing who we are and our identity as a defense, we need to get back to that because we feel collectively we haven't been playing our best ball, and from not starting fast to giving up certain situations, we have to get back to that, and that's on us. And I take pride in that and ownership of that. So